The Summit Upload. In April 2017, a mountaineer on a guided expedition to Mount Everest uploaded a series of videos to YouTube while reportedly positioned at Camp 2, an elevation of approximately 6,400 meters above sea level, on the Lhotse face of the mountain. This was not, on its face, impossible. By 2017, satellite internet terminals had made their way to Everest Base Camp at 5,380 meters. Commercial providers, including Nepal Telecom, had extended 4G coverage to the base camp area in 2013. Several climbers had successfully live-streamed from base camp by that point. Camp 2, however, is a different matter. It sits more than a kilometer higher in elevation, in a region where signal propagation from the nearest cell tower, located far below in the Khumbu Valley, is severely obstructed by terrain. No permanent satellite terminal exists there. Personal satellite communicators of the type available to consumer climbers in 2017 operated at speeds measured in kilobits per second, not the several megabits per second required to upload the file sizes recorded in this case. The videos totaled 847 megabytes. The upload timestamps span approximately 22 minutes. A telecommunications researcher at the University of Kathmandu reviewed the upload logs at the request of a technology publication in 2019. His finding was straightforward. The upload volume divided by the upload time implied a sustained data rate of approximately 5.1 megabits per second. He could not identify a consumer-accessible technology available at that location in April 2017 capable of sustaining that rate. The climber, when contacted by the publication, said he used a commercial satellite terminal borrowed from another expedition. He could not recall the make or model. The publication was unable to identify which expedition might have loaned the equipment. Everest expedition manifests for that season, which are public record in Nepal, list no commercial satellite uplink terminals at Camp 2 during that period. The videos themselves show nothing remarkable. They are footage of the climb. What remains unresolved is simply how the upload happened at that rate, from that location, with the equipment that was available. The submarine dispatch. In January 2016, a video appeared on a private sailing forum. It was posted by a user who identified himself as crew aboard a research vessel operating in the North Atlantic. The video showed interior footage of what appeared to be a mid-sized oceanographic vessel, equipment racks, instrument panels, crew in foul weather gear. The file metadata embedded in the upload showed GPS coordinates placing the upload point at approximately 52 degrees north, 35 degrees west, roughly 1,400 kilometers west of Ireland, well beyond the range of any land-based cellular infrastructure. Maritime satellite internet service does exist for vessels of this type. The primary providers in 2016 were Inmarsat and VSAT terminal operators. Both services were available at sea in that region. This is not, in itself, anomalous. What drew attention from forum members was the upload timestamp. The timestamp placed the upload at 3:17 a.m. UTC. Forum members with maritime communications experience noted that the vessel in the video appeared to be a specific research ship operated by a European oceanographic institution, a ship whose publicly available operational schedule showed it docked in Bremerhaven, Germany on that date. A member of the forum, who identified himself as a former maritime communications engineer, pulled the public AIS tracking data for the vessel, the automatic identification system that commercial ships are required to broadcast. The AIS data for that vessel on that date showed it stationary in Bremerhaven Harbor. The institution that operates the vessel was contacted. A communications officer confirmed the vessel was in port that week for scheduled maintenance. She said she was not aware of any crew members having uploaded material from the vessel during that period. The forum post was deleted by the user approximately 2 weeks after it appeared. The AIS records are still publicly accessible through marine traffic databases. The coordinates they show for that date do not match the coordinates in the video file metadata. One of those two records is wrong. Which one has not been officially established? The prison upload. HMP Belmarsh is a Category A high-security prison in southeast London. It houses individuals assessed as presenting the highest risk of escape or harm. Electronic device usage is strictly prohibited. Signal jamming technology is deployed throughout the facility. The prison operates under protocols that include routine searches for unauthorized communication devices. In November 2019, a video appeared on Twitter that purported to have been filmed inside a Belmarsh cell. The footage was brief, under a minute. It showed what appeared to be an interior cell wall, a small window, a bed frame. No individual appeared on screen, no words were spoken. The upload metadata attached to the tweet showed a location pin within the geographic boundary of HMP Belmarsh. Twitter's location data at that time was self-reported by the device, meaning a user could, in principle, manually set a false location. This is the most straightforward explanation, and the one most commonly applied to this case. However, a researcher at a digital forensics consultancy in London examined the tweet metadata at the request of a legal organization monitoring prison conditions. She noted that the location data embedded in the file itself, distinct from the Twitter-reported location, also corresponded to the prison's coordinates, to a precision of approximately 10 meters. Manually spoofing both the platform-reported location and the device-embedded GPS data simultaneously requires deliberate technical effort that goes beyond simply selecting a location on a map. The prison service confirmed the video was under investigation. A spokesperson said they were examining how an unauthorized device could have been operated inside the facility. No further public statement was issued. Whether the video was filmed inside Belmarsh, or whether the metadata was constructed to suggest that it was, remains an open question. The digital forensics examiner noted both possibilities were technically viable. She did not draw a conclusion. The Dead Zone broadcast. The Farallon Islands are a small archipelago located approximately 43 kilometers west of San Francisco. They are a designated national wildlife refuge. Public access is prohibited. The islands are staffed by a small rotating team of wildlife biologists, typically no more than 6 individuals at any given time. In August 2021, a video appeared on Instagram tagged to a location on Southeast Farallon Island, the largest of the group. The video showed close-up footage of seabirds, rocky terrain, and what appeared to be open ocean from an elevated vantage point. The visual content was consistent with the island's documented geography. There is no cellular infrastructure on the Farallon Islands. The research station uses a licensed radio communication system and a satellite connection managed by the Point Blue Conservation Science Organization, which administers the research station. That satellite connection is used for scientific data transfer and emergency communication. It is not, according to Point Blue's published documentation, configured for general internet access or social media uploads. Point Blue confirmed to an environmental journalist that the video was posted by one of their researchers. They said the upload was made using a personal satellite communicator the researcher had brought privately. They did not specify the device type. The journalist, reviewing publicly available specification sheets for consumer satellite communicators available in 2021, noted that the upload speed implied by the file size and the timestamp was again inconsistent with what those devices support. Point Blue did not respond to follow-up questions about the specific device used. The researcher declined to be interviewed. The video itself, a quiet, technically accomplished piece of wildlife footage, remains online. The metadata remains attached to it. The question of exactly how it was transmitted has not been publicly answered in a technically satisfying way. The Antarctic Anomaly. Princess Elizabeth Station is a Belgian Antarctic research base, operational since 2009. It is located in the Soar-Rondaine Mountains of Queen Maud Land, at approximately 71 degrees south. The station is notable for being the first zero-emission polar station in the world. It operates seasonally, typically staffed during the austral summer, roughly November through February. In February 2018, a researcher at the station uploaded a video to Vimeo. This is not unusual. The station has satellite internet capability, and researchers have uploaded content before. The upload was a time-lapse of Aurora Australis activity, the Southern Lights, filmed over several hours. What attracted attention from a small community of Antarctic communications enthusiasts was the upload timestamp. The time-lapse, which compressed several hours of footage, was uploaded at a timestamp that appeared to be approximately 11 hours before the station's satellite communications window, the scheduled period during which the station's bandwidth is allocated for data transfer. Antarctic satellite communications operate on strict schedules determined by the positioning of geostationary and low Earth orbit satellites relative to the station's extreme southern latitude. At 71 degrees south, satellite visibility windows are limited and predictable. The Belgian Science Policy Office, which administers the station, was contacted by an Antarctic communications researcher. A spokesperson said the timestamp discrepancy was likely a time zone conversion error in the Vimeo upload system. This is a plausible explanation. Vimeo's handling of time zones during that period was imprecise, as the company itself acknowledged in a 2019 developer forum post. What the spokesperson could not explain was why the upload log, which records server receipt time in UTC, a format that is time zone independent, also showed the anomalous timestamp. The communications researcher published his findings in a hobbyist newsletter. The Belgian Science Policy Office did not respond to his follow-up inquiry. The flight path upload. In October 2020, a travel blogger uploaded a video to YouTube from what she described as a trans-Pacific commercial flight. The video itself showed in-flight footage, window views, cabin interior, meal service. The blogger noted in her description that she was surprised the in-flight Wi-Fi was working well enough to upload. In-flight Wi-Fi on trans-Pacific routes is provided by a small number of satellite-based services. By 2020, the technology had improved substantially. Uploads from aircraft over the Pacific were not unprecedented. The metadata attached to the file showed GPS coordinates. The coordinates updated throughout the video, consistent with a moving aircraft. When a viewer who works in aviation data mapped those coordinates against publicly available flight tracking data, she noticed something. The GPS track in the video metadata described a flight path that passed through a specific area of Pacific airspace, an area in which, according to FAA and ICAO airspace records she reviewed, no commercial flights were scheduled on that date. She posted her findings in an aviation enthusiast forum. Other members pulled FlightAware and Flight Radar 24 data for that date and region. No commercial flight appeared in the tracking databases matching the path described by the metadata coordinates. The blogger's subsequent posts listed the airline she was traveling with. That airline's trans-Pacific routes, documented in publicly available schedules, do not include the flight path indicated by the metadata. The blogger has not responded to questions about the discrepancy. She continues to post regularly. Several forum members proposed that the GPS coordinates were artifacts of the satellite handoff process used by in-flight Wi-Fi systems, which can cause GPS drift. This is a documented phenomenon. Whether it accounts for an entirely different flight path rather than minor positional drift is debated in the forum thread, which runs to over 200 replies and reaches no consensus. The hospital room signal. In March 2020, during the early weeks of the COVID-19 pandemic, a video appeared on a private Facebook group for a family. It showed a patient in what appeared to be an intensive care unit, ventilator equipment visible, monitoring screens in the background. The video was short. It appeared to have been filmed and uploaded from inside the ICU. Most hospital ICU environments, particularly during that period when infection control protocols were strict and visitor access was severely restricted, prohibit personal devices in the immediate patient care area. Many hospitals deploy cellular signal dampening in ICU environments to prevent interference with monitoring equipment. A nurse who was a member of the family's Facebook group and worked at the hospital where the patient was being treated noted, in a private message to a family member that was later shared with a journalist, that the ward shown in the video used signal dampening equipment. She said she had personally experienced the absence of any cellular or Wi-Fi signal in that specific ward. The journalist contacted the hospital. A spokesperson confirmed that personal device usage in that ward was restricted and that the ward used RF interference mitigation equipment. She could not explain how a video had been uploaded from there. She suggested the device might have found a signal from a neighboring ward. The hospital's published floor plan, available in a community health document, shows the neighboring wards are separated from the ICU by a concrete structural wall. The family has asked that the hospital's name and location not be published. The journalist honored this request. The video is no longer accessible. The nurse's account has not been independently verified. The hospital's statement was provided over the phone and not issued in writing. What exists is a documented account, a spokesperson's partial confirmation, and a floor plan showing a structural separation that would significantly attenuate any signal from an adjacent ward. Nothing more. The cave system footage. Lechuguilla Cave in New Mexico is one of the longest and deepest caves in the United States. It extends over 240 kilometers of mapped passage. Access is strictly limited to permitted scientific expeditions. It is not open to the public. The cave system extends to depths exceeding 480 meters below the surface. At some point, the exact date is disputed in the caving community, a video appeared on a private Reddit forum used by cave researchers. The video showed passage footage consistent with Lechuguilla's distinctive speleothem formations, features documented in published geological surveys of the cave. The footage was technically accomplished, shot with what appeared to be a high-quality camera and artificial lighting consistent with expedition photography. The metadata on the video file showed a timestamp and GPS coordinates. The GPS coordinates placed the recording location approximately 200 meters below the surface of the Guadalupe Mountains, a location consistent with mapped passages in Lechuguilla. There is no wireless signal at 200 meters below the surface of a cave system. None. The physics of radio wave propagation through solid rock are not in question here. A GPS signal, which requires line of sight to multiple satellites, also cannot function at that depth. The only way a video file could carry accurate GPS coordinates from that location would be if the coordinates were manually entered into the file's metadata after the video was recorded and before it was uploaded, which would require deliberate effort. The cave researcher who posted the video, using an anonymous account, offered no explanation. The Reddit post was removed by a moderator after community members began asking about the metadata. The moderator cited a rule about posting materials from restricted access areas. The National Park Service, which administers Lechuguilla, confirmed to a journalist that an unauthorized expedition had been reported in the cave during the general timeframe in question. They confirmed the matter was under review. No further statement was issued. Whether the GPS coordinates in the metadata represent accurate positional data logged before the expedition descended, or coordinates entered manually, or something else, has not been publicly established. The Dead Satellite Handshake. In July 2022, a Russian-language travel vlogger posted a video to VKontakte, the Russian social media platform, tagged to a location in the Sakha Republic in eastern Siberia. The location was remote. The nearest town of any size was approximately 340 kilometers away. The footage showed forest terrain and what appeared to be a river crossing. Several viewers noted in the comments that the location appeared to be outside the coverage area of any Russian cellular provider. Rostelecom and MTS, the two primary Russian mobile carriers, publish coverage maps. The tagged location fell clearly outside their documented coverage zones. Starlink, which later expanded into Russia before access was subsequently restricted, was not available in Russia in July 2022. A viewer who identified himself as a satellite communications engineer commented that the upload metadata contained a network identifier he didn't recognize. He posted a screenshot. Other technically oriented users in the comments identified the network identifier as belonging to a satellite telecommunications constellation that had been decommissioned, formally taken out of service, in 2019. The vlogger responded to comments saying he used a device his uncle had given him and that he didn't know the technical details. Decommissioned satellites do not simply stop existing. They remain in orbit. Some continue to function in a limited capacity. Whether legacy ground equipment can interface with a formally decommissioned constellation and achieve data transfer is technically complex and depends entirely on the specific systems involved. A telecommunications researcher contacted for this documentary said the scenario was theoretically possible, but would require equipment that was no longer commercially available and expertise to configure it. He said he couldn't rule it out without knowing the specific devices involved. The network identifier in the screenshot was matched by one forum user to a specific commercial constellation. The company that operated that constellation confirmed by email that the constellation was decommissioned. They did not respond to a follow-up question about whether any terminals were still active. This final case is different from the others. It does not involve a remote or physically inaccessible location. The impossibility here is temporal rather than geographic. On December 23, 2019, A fire broke out in a residential neighborhood on one of Valparaiso's hillsides. The fire was reported to emergency services at 2:14 a.m. local time, according to the official incident report filed by the Valparaiso Fire Department. This report is a public document. At 1:57 a.m. local time, 17 minutes before the fire was officially reported, a video appeared on YouTube. The video showed the fire. It showed flames in what the metadata confirmed was the correct geographic location. The video was 43 seconds long. The YouTube upload timestamp is server-logged in UTC. The conversion to Chilean local time was confirmed independently by 2 journalists who reviewed the case. The 17-minute discrepancy is consistent across all reviewed records. The video was uploaded by an account that had been created 3 days earlier. The account had no other content. After the video accumulated several thousand views and was reported on by a local Chilean news outlet, the account was deleted. Several explanations exist for a timestamp discrepancy of this kind. YouTube servers occasionally log timestamps imprecisely during periods of high load. The device clock on the filming phone could have been set incorrectly. The fire could have started before it was reported, which is common, as people often observe a fire for some time before calling emergency services. Chilean investigators reviewed the video as part of their fire origin investigation. Their report, released in March 2020, noted the video as evidence of the fire's location and spread, but did not address the timestamp discrepancy. When a journalist asked a spokesperson for the investigation about the upload time, the spokesperson said the question was outside the scope of their inquiry. The YouTube account's deletion means the platform's internal upload records are no longer accessible through standard channels. The video itself was preserved by the news outlet that reported on it. The timestamp is visible in the outlet's archived coverage. The fire's cause was ruled accidental. The source of the video was never publicly identified.